Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is Friday, March 5th. We don't have any open meetings to tell you about today, so we'll just jump on to who is going to be on the show. And of course, it's Friday, so we are going to have an update from Jeff Parker, and he has some news regarding COVID numbers as well as vaccinations, and also some potential openings down the line. So we'll chit-chat a little bit about that. Then we also have Carl Randazzo here, who is going to give us a United update. Let's go ahead and give you our vaccination information like we normally do. We've got the Laguna Woods Village alerts.com website where you can get all of the latest updates on Laguna Woods Village, as well as an FAQ page that should answer most of your questions regarding the vaccination distribution program. We also have an email, info@lagunawoodsvillage.com, so if you are 65 and over and you would like vaccination information, please email us all the information, your name, your phone number, and just kind of what your questions are, and you can email that right to that email address. The hotline is no longer in place, so you will not be able to contact that, so the best thing to do is to email us at the info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. Now, if you would like to be vaccinated at Soka University or Disneyland, those sites are still operating. You are able to register at othina.com, and that is the best place to go to right now because they have plenty of vaccinations and they do it on a daily basis. If you are a Kaiser Permanente member, you will want to contact them directly at 833-574-2273 or go to their website, which is kp.org/COVID vaccine. Click on Make an Appointment. Okay, our weather's looking pretty good. We might just get a little bit of rain earlier next week. We'll keep an eye on that as we move forward. But as of today, we are looking real good with a high of 73-48. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler, partly cloudy, 64-48. Sunday, 64-48 as well. Monday, 63-46. And Tuesday is when we're going to start clouding up again with a possibility of rain at 61-50. If you are traveling in California, we'll go ahead and tell you what the temperatures are. Our beaches are looking nice at 61-50, Santa Barbara 65-42, San Diego 64-53. Now the High Sierras are expecting snow one of the days, and that'll be temperatures of 39-20. Big Bear 54-27, and Mammoth is going to be a bit windy, but 45-20, and Palm Springs is getting up to where I like it, 80-52. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:14, and our sunset will be at 5:51. Now, Russ, I have to say, this doesn't look like a real bird, but amazing that you caught this, and it is just beautiful, that bird color. So nice job on that. Thank you for sending that in. If you have a photo that you would like to share with our villagers, please email it to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. All right, when we return, we will sit down with Jeff Parker for some new information.
Silver
and gold. Consider it sold.
The Jewelry Box of Lake Forest will buy your gold, diamonds, fine watches, coins, and sterling serviceware, regardless of condition. With metals at an all-time high, now is the time to sell. Visit us in person or shop online from the comfort of home.
Silver and gold. Consider it sold.
At the Jewelry Box, it's about trust.
Jeff Parker, as I mentioned. Happy Friday. I know you're just super excited about the weekend.
Well, we are excited in the sense that we are going to have our clinic again and on Saturday and Sunday, and we're getting near the end of our second dose process, so we are excited about that.
That's excellent.
And it looks like we're going to have some pretty weather, so that's nice too.
Good. Yeah, no rain, because that's always much more difficult when you guys are trying to vaccinate. They've got all the tents out there and the poor people are in the rain. So
truly is, but we're looking forward to it.
Okay, good. That's great. And, you know, we were super excited to see the numbers last time, and they seem to be getting better, but not as fast.
Yeah, they did slow down, but the good news is that in some areas we're hitting plateaus, and I think that's critical. So talk about it. The cases are, as of yesterday, 160 cases. That's down from 190 when we talked last time. So if you go down 30 increments every Monday to Friday, we're going to make big leaps. So that's really good to see that kind of a drop. Unfortunately, reporting 47 deaths in Orange County. Again, that's a pretty high number. And they, again, from the unfortunate side, we exceeded the 4,000 number for the whole time frame. You know, and that's obviously impacts families all over the place, and that's sad, and don't like to hear that. Test cases up at 15,000. So when you see a high testing and a low COVID cases, we'll talk about that in the next slide here in a minute. That shows the percentages dropping. The plateaus I mentioned, both the hospitalization and the ICUs have dropped down. Now we're below 400 on hospitalizations and below 100 on ICUs. So
that's great.
Again, that's huge when it comes to total numbers. With regards to the village, we're at 399 in the cases. And when I talk about the village, I'm saying Laguna Woods again. So that could be outside our gates and inside gates. It's all about the city of Laguna Woods, but kind of calling that us in a sense. So 399, that's only up one case over the week. So that's really good, and unfortunately up one death during that time frame too. So we're at 35. But here's the real exciting news. We have show 7.6 cases per 100, and then if you look at the next two, positive cases at 3.9, and the health equity possibility rate at 5%. The importance here is that with those numbers, the CEO of Orange County and the Orange County Health have indicated that it's quite possible, because we've hit 2 of the 3 categories in the orange category. We skipped the red. You know, so we've dropped down. When that happens, you can go quicker into that next category. So they're hopeful that the designation will come Tuesday for us going to red, as opposed to 2 weeks. You know, there's usually a 2 to 3 week wait period.
I see what you're saying.
So they're looking at the possibility of going to red on Tuesday. If not, it would be the 17th, a week later.
Right.
And then as it's noted in the fine print over on the right, then when you go into a category, the next is a 3-week wait to go into the next category. So let's assume for a second positively that we're going to Tuesday to be in the categories as red.
Yes.
Then 3 weeks later, which would basically be the first weekend in April, we would be down, if our numbers keep going the way they are, we would be down into the orange. That's huge, because that's when you have reached the 50% with regards to businesses and operations having activity in their facilities. So one of the things that we're doing right now is kind of anticipating that coming, and getting our, working with our HR department and working with our recreation department, how and what can we open up in the way of facilities, and how would we implement that once we went to that orange category? Because then we're capable of saying, hey, groups, community groups, you know, the clubs and stuff like that, potentially going back into our clubhouses with obviously still the regulations of the mask and social distancing, but then we have the capacity there of 50%. So we have some pretty good sized rooms. So that gives us the flexibility of having some activities come back to our clubhouses. And I'm looking forward to that happening. And we anticipate, I mean, again, it all depends on the next 3 weeks if we keep these numbers down. But anticipating probably that in the first week or 2 of April, we would see ourselves in that orange category. And it takes time for us to go back and hire people and get that staffing back up. But we'll be doing that in the next few days. We talked about it yesterday. We'll be talking about it all next week. And hopefully I'll be able to come up into a kind of a one-off show, just talk about what we're reopening, when we're reopening it, and how we're going to do that. We're going to be looking at appointment-only type of situations for the community center, all of those different things and when that will start and when that'll occur. So
Right.
but I'm excited about that.
Well, that makes sense, you know, because you want to ease back in. You don't want to have everybody just show up all at once, and then you've got a problem again where we're all congregating together at close proximity. So that does make sense. And you're right, the clubhouses are large enough where they can do spacing. So, you know, maybe that would be, you know, you wouldn't have as many people at one time. Like, could you have 20 or 25 people, I don't remember what the number is, in a room, but spread out? Can you do something like that?
Right. So that's once you go in that orange category, they loosen up the requirement as how many people can congregate that aren't related in a space. That's limited within the purple and red, but it gets reduced as far as the requirements once you get into the orange and yellow categories. So that's what we're determining all this on are those state guidelines that say how many can be in a group meeting and how many can be together in an activity, even though they're socially distanced.
Okay, and I know there's been a lot of discussion about some other states who have just completely gone off the grid in terms of, you know, they just decided, well, we're now not going to have masks and this and that. It's like, wow, okay, that's a lot to take in, and I don't know if we certainly aren't at that
And I don't
stage
think
at all.
California's, and we can anticipate that happening in California, and then a lot of states aren't doing that. There were a couple of states that decided to do that. I think in listening to the news tonight, or last night and today, one of the things that we need to be cautious of is, again, it's activities that generate the spread of this, and it's spring break now for a lot of colleges and schools and high schools and stuff like that. And it's the young people that asymptomatic and don't know it and spread it. So you got to be careful. The positive thing for us here at the Village, obviously, is the vaccination process that we've been able to do, and how that's going to help us control this environment here in the Village itself.
Right, exactly, and that's a great segue into it. So let's talk about vaccination. No clinic today.
Correct.
But you are going to do it this weekend. So tell me what's happening this weekend.
So both Saturday and Sunday, we're going to do it starting at, I believe it's 9 o'clock, and everybody has appointments. And so you either received a call from Memorial Care, be notifying residents of their appointments. Also, we're using Code Red to let people know about their appointments. That'll be Saturday and Sunday. And then we will finish that. And then we have one more weekend where we'll be finishing up all of the second doses. And then we are done. So we're really looking forward to that next, what are we going to do after that? Now, we're still focusing on everybody that's 65 and over, because the state regulations and vaccine regulations from the feds and everything is really focused on 65 and above. So going forward, we want to hear from residents who have not received a shot, who are interested in getting a shot. And you mentioned it earlier, going to info@lagunavillage.com.
Laguna Woods Village, right?
LagunaWoodsVillage.com, that website right there, and sending us your information. You know, your name, your manor, your phone number, your email if you have an email, so that we can put a kind of a waiting list together of individuals who might be interested in the future if we do another vaccination. And the reason we want to do that is we want to know, trying to get an idea of how many people in the Village have been vaccinated, not just through our program, but how many have gone through the county and gone to Disneyland or SoCa or any of the private clinics, you know, the hospitals and stuff like that. Once we have that, then we're going to have a better idea, again, how well we're covered. And those individuals who have not had an opportunity or want an opportunity to get that first shot, I think that come April, we're also going to have more access to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which would be the possibility maybe of doing one more weekend where it's a one shot and we've completed it. We don't have to double up.
Would be great.
And the importance of that is really, we've stretched our staff. We've stretched, I know, Memorial staff and all their volunteers. It's a lot of work. It's a progress that we loved and have loved, and we want to continue to look at that. But we also want to be cognizant of all our volunteers and everybody. So that's really important that we do that.
Good. And then I know that there's one other place that's going to start having vaccinations now. I thought it was CVS, but it's actually going to be Rite Aid.
And across the street.
And across the street. So people will be able to make a reservation or get information, appointment or get information at riteaid.com/COVID/19. And that, do we know exactly when that's going to happen?
They've already started.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my understanding that they have now started to do that. Again, their allocation is attributed to the state and the feds getting them vaccination numbers. So,
right.
Like I said, the rollout of the Johnson & Johnson is so critical because it just speeds up the process.
Exactly.
It's a one
right.
shot and you're done.
Right.
If they're making appointments and it's a Modena or it's Pfizer, then they have to come back and get a second shot.
Right.
So that's a little bit more difficult, more critical for them.
Right. Well, let's hope that Johnson & Johnson gets just, distributed as quickly as possible.
It will certainly help.
Good.
That's
Good.
for sure.
Okay, well, good. Well, have a great weekend. Good luck this weekend on the vaccinations, and we'll have an update on Monday.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you. All right, when we come back, we'll have Carl Randazzo, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Carl Randazzo, and he is here on behalf of United. Well, Carl, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to come here every couple of months and let everybody in United know what's going on with the maintenance and construction meeting. Okay, that's happening. And since I'm
good information.
Right, exactly. So I just want to say that the United M&C meeting, which we have every other month, the M&C department maintains a project log of major activities, which I've gone through on this program on many occasions in the past. And we went through the ones that we're going to be doing this year. This is just, and I'll just highlight a number of the items that we basically discussed. With regard to the prior to paint program, that fixes all the problems associated with surfaces that need to be painted. This is accomplished before one coat of paint is applied. So we do some sort of maintenance and rip out any rotten woods and what have you. And then 5 or 6 cul-de-sacs are planned to be done this year, and it's part of our new 15-year paint program. The paint program itself then follows, and then we apply paint to all the exterior surfaces of buildings and that haven't been altered by a resident. If it's been altered by a resident, then that resident's responsible for that painting. This is on the exteriors only. 5 or 6 cul-de-sacs are planned to be done this year, and again, that's part of our 15-year paint program. Gutter replacement of deteriorated gutters is planned every year. Budget has been put together for this year's work. As the need arises during the year, other gutters may get replaced depending on what happens. And a minimum of 27 locations have been determined to need gutter replacements due to deterioration this year, but there may be others that we find during the year. Building structures and balconies are inspected and repaired as required during the year. And then any repairs are accomplished after buildings have been inspected in order to maintain safety. And there's a requirement within the law now that certain balconies have to be inspected each year.
Yeah.
Pushmatic electric panels are being replaced in United based on a yearly schedule. There were 1,600 units that needed panel replacement in United. And so far, we have completed 1,150 of those. The number of units scheduled to be completed in 2021 is 275. And that all depends on how well this pandemic works out, because people are not, in certain cases, people are not allowing us into their manors because they don't want workmen in there.
Sure.
Certain cul-de-sacs are seal coated and asphalt is reapplied on a yearly basis. The seal coating is done annually to ensure that cracks are sealed to ensure water does not seep below the pavement and cause erosion to occur, and that will basically cause a pothole. We want to minimize any potholes. Approximately 15 cul-de-sacs will be seal coated this year, and approximately 4 cul-de-sacs will have new asphalt applied. We only do the cul-de-sacs, and United GRF does the streets. Roofs are maintained annually, and some roofs are replaced. This year, 18 roofs are scheduled to be replaced in United. Drain lines are lined with epoxy annually in order to prevent needing to dig them up and replace them when they develop leaks. We have cast iron pipes in the ground, and after time, they just start rusting, and then they start causing leaks. And we've been applying this epoxy so we don't have to remove the pipe from the ground and put in a new one. This work is done to prevent leakage. This is a less costly method to reduce the possibility of leakage from these cast iron pipelines. This year, the plan is to epoxy line the waste lines in 3 large buildings and the associated piping around those buildings. And usually we try to do a whole building at the same time because it's easier for us to do that. But if one of the members decides they don't want to have somebody enter their cul-de-sac because some of the work needs to be done within the manor itself, then we have to put that particular unit on hold, and we have to find another building to do. We replaced barbed wire fencing at the top of the walls that surround our community. This barbed wire is replaced with shepherd's crook fencing that is more aesthetically pleasing and is in accordance with the Laguna Woods City requirements. In United this year, we anticipate changing out approximately 300 feet of this fencing. Now, most of the project work that I mentioned is done outside of everyone's home. However, for some activities, as I noted before, we will need to access your unit. During this pandemic, we have and will continue to ask if you will be willing to permit workmen in your home so that the work can be accomplished. Let me say, when we do ask you to do that work, to allow a person in there, he will be wearing the face mask and the clothing and the PPE and what have you, okay? So all of that should be taken care of, but you still have the last word to say no. If you say no, we will not schedule the work for that unit. Hopefully this year, with this pandemic, will subside and most people will be vaccinated. At that time, we will need to go into high gear and allow this work to go forward, and we will just be scheduling the work so that our mechanical and electrical systems remain functional. It's important that you allow these people into the home so we can get this stuff upgraded and worked out. But unfortunately, we do understand that sometimes you're afraid. But hopefully with this vaccination and the fact that the pandemic may subside, that may minimize that. And then during this meeting, we also discussed the next steps for addressing electric vehicle usage in United. Due to the infrastructure shortcomings in our 50-plus year community, we will not be able to have all the carports to be modified to permit all cars parked overnight and able to charge the electric vehicles. These carports have 20 amp circuits, and these 20 amp circuits usually cover anywhere between 4 and 6 actual plugs. So each car will need approximately 12 amps in order to basically be charged overnight, and that's an 8-hour charge. Well, if you look at it, you have 20 amps available among 4 or 5 or 6 units, okay, and you need 12 amps, okay, out of 20, so you can only charge 1 a night. If there are 4 plugs per 120 amp circuit, then only 1 car will be able to be charged for 8 hours at a time. In order to address this shortcoming, SCE, Southern California Edison, has informed us that they will provide infrastructure upgrades in strategic areas to prevent the charging of vehicles in the community. In order for us to tap into this infrastructure upgrade, there is an application process we will need to go through, and we would be one of the many areas in California where they will be making this available. For us in United, certain strategically located laundry rooms seem to be the candidates for this upgrade, because we can't do anything in the carports right now.
Right.
However, if our applications are accepted and SCE does their work, we will still need to have an outlay of money coming from our budgets to address additional parking spots, and the installation of meters and charging units. In addition, there is the cost of the upkeep and the meter charges. It is a process we are going through at this time, and if we are successful with our application submittal, we will be looking forward to working with SCE and addressing funds that will be needed to allow this to happen. People and said that this particular monies is available for us, meaning them, to upgrade the infrastructure. They will only do it in strategic areas, and obviously they're trying to get the biggest bang for their buck. So that we couldn't be able to do that for the carport areas because that just doesn't give us enough.
Yeah.
But to do it in strategically located areas, SCE would probably allow us to do that. But again, the application process is open to all people in California. Well, all people that are covered by Southern California and Southern California. And, you know, when you put in an application, they look at it and they review it and they do what they need to do. And if you're on that, you know, if you got your application in first, you're good. If you got your application in last, you may get just thrown away. So
Yeah.
we're working through the process right now to sort of upgrade our possibility of charging electric vehicles, because we know that by 2035, they're supposed to say that they're trying to get almost all cars to be electric in this state. That's not going to happen, but you know.
Well, it'll be a while, I'm sure. But are you seeing increased demand, though, for the chargers? I mean, people are buying electric cars?
There seems to be an increase in the village, okay, but only in strategic areas right now. Certain people in certain areas are buying electric vehicles, and other people are not buying any vehicles at all. So,
Okay.
you know, I mean, if you've got a vehicle, okay, and you've had it for 20 years and you basically go to the grocery store once a week, okay, then maybe you don't need an electric vehicle, okay? It all depends. It all depends on the individual.
Right.
We know that electric vehicles will be something in California that will need to be addressing for us. And it is a selling point to get new people into the community, because if they have an electric vehicle and they want to get into the community, then, and they find out there's no way to charge their car, then that might be something that strikes down the community, okay? So we're trying to basically open it up to people to come in here welcoming with various different things. Besides the amenities, we want to actually also have electric vehicles as a possibility to charge.
Great. Well, that's a nice thing, and certainly a good feature for the community, like you mentioned.
Right. And if Southern California is willing to give us free money to basically upgrade our infrastructure, okay, that's also a selling point too for us.
Good. Exactly. We'll pray your application's on top.
Yes, pray it is. Okay.
All right.
That's basically all I have. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, our movie for today is called Tesla, and you can see that today at 2 p.m. with subtitles and then 7 p.m. without subtitles, and that is sponsored by Memorial Care. So check that out today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our weather one last time before we head on out. We are looking at some nice temperatures today. We are looking at 73-48 for today, so kind of warm. Tomorrow, 64-48. Sunday, 64-48 also. Then Monday, partly cloudy, 63-46. And by Tuesday, we are looking at cloudiness with some rain possible, so we'll keep an eye out for you. It is 61-50 on Tuesday. Local beaches, 61-50. Santa Barbara, 65-42. San Diego, 64-53. High Sierras with some snow on one of the days, 39-20. Big Bear, 54-27. Mammoth is going to be a bit windy, 45-20. And Palm Springs, a nice 80-52. Now you can go ahead and have a great day in the village. We'll see you again tomorrow here at 9 a.m. Bye-bye.